I do notice that I'm feeling a little bit worried about you if I keep doing heavy stuff, but I'm going to just keep going with it. I'm going to trust Lauren's lightness. Yeah. I read this poem the last time I was here. I'm certain of it, even though I can't remember. Yep, I do remember, actually. And anyway, I wrote this when I heard a story about a soldier who had been set on fire and burned to death because he was queer. And when I heard that, I started reading similar stories about people in the LGBTQ community who had been tortured or killed that way, by being set on fire and burned. And I kept thinking of everyone who had died that way and what they might say from where they are now. I wrote this poem, and I got to read it in a church recently, and I wrote this poem to be performed in churches. I don't get invited very often, but the night I was torn from the pages of their Bible and burned alive, my ashes came down like snow, and a girl who had never seen my face saw me falling from the sky and laid down on her back to make an angel in the powder of my bones. From heaven I watched her, though my eyes were still flame and my ribs were still blue. They didn't win, I whispered, as her arms built my wings. They didn't win. Look at that moon. It is a pebble in my hand. Tonight, I could skip it across that fog-drunk sea to their lashes, accordion in the light, and all they know of hate is that it couldn't beat the love out of me. That when they dropped me to the grave, I fell like a bucket into a well and came up full, carving my lover's name into the skin of a weeping willow that had spent its entire life laughing at the rain. Hold me like a lantern, staircase my spine. When they bring their children to my funeral to scream faggot at my dust, tell them I was born into this casket, but I wouldn't pull the splinters from my heart any more than Christ will pull the thorns from his crimson head. They can come 1,000 times with a burning match and a gasoline, with their hungry laws and their empty mouths full of prayers to that God who greeted me at his gates with his throat full of trumpets and his tears full of shame, as his trembling palms collected the cinder of his children's crime. I know what holy is. I know the soul is shaped like a bowl. I know the lies we try to fill it with, and we spill too often the orchards inside. But my lover's shoes were tied with guitar strings, and when I walked beside, there was a silo in my chest. There was a field full of sun. There was a river full of gold that we left to pick our sweethearts from the trees. They kept uprooting tombstones so the names of the dead would crumble into poems. Write me down like this. Say my ashes never made the news. Say the jury was full of shotguns, and say the snow that fell on the tip of your tongue refused to melt away. Say this to the kids hiding their heartbeats from their father's fists. I planted the garden of my kiss. I opened the night with my teeth. I love so hard that when they press their ear to the track, the train they hear coming will still be my chest. A rumbling harpoon, a sky they cannot bury. Look at that moon. I am a pebble in her hand, a harmonica held to the mouth of the river where nothing ever burns.